Yeah, hi. I'm going to show you how to play any diminished chord on your piano or keyboard or any diminished 7th chord. In the beginning of this lesson, I'm going to show you the theory behind how to build any diminished chord, and by the end of this lesson, I'm simply going to show you all diminished chords one by one. Okay, now let's start out at the middle C. Now, any diminished chord is built entirely of minor third intervals. So a minor third interval up from C will be this note, E flat. So let's just do a bit of counting here. To make a minor third interval, including both notes, you have to count like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 semitones, or simply 4 keys on your keyboard. So this is the first minor third interval in our C diminished chord. Now let's add another minor third interval starting from this note: 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be our third note in our C diminished chord. Now this is in fact C diminished chord. It's a 3-note chord. If we want to make it a C diminished 7th chord, simply add another minor third interval counting from this note: 1, 2, 3, 4, the note A. So this is a C diminished 7th chord. Now you'll notice if we try to add another minor third interval, 1, 2, 3, 4, this will only simply bring us back to the root note. So no need to do this. Okay, C diminished 7th chord, a 4-note chord. If you only want the C diminished chord, a 3-note chord, simply leave out the last note, the top note. Okay, so that's how to build any diminished chord or any diminished 7th chord. You build it entirely from minor third intervals. Let's do it one more time. We have our root note. We want to build a C diminished chord or a C diminished 7th chord. Okay, root note, and we'll make our first minor third interval: 1, 2, 3, 4, and another minor third interval: 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 notes. Here we have our C diminished chord. To make it a C diminished 7th chord, add another minor third interval: 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you have the C diminished 7th chord. Okay, let's do one more example. Let's try to make a C sharp diminished chord. So now this is our root note, C sharp. To make a C sharp diminished chord, we build our minor third intervals: 1, 2, 3, 4. And we add another minor third: 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a C sharp diminished chord. To make it a C sharp diminished 7th chord, we add another minor third interval: 1, 2, 3, 4. So a 4-note chord. There you have the C sharp diminished 7th chord. Okay, let's return to the C diminished chord, C diminished 7th chord. I just want to let you know that once you know one of these chords with 4 notes, you in fact know 4 diminished 7th chord. Let me explain. It's because the root note defines the name of the chord. In this case, the C diminished 7th chord. But if I make this note the root note, and I'll do this by moving this key C to the top, like this, and I'll move my hand. You see exactly the same notes as before, but now with the E flat as root note. Now the chord is called E flat diminished 7th chord. And again, if you only want the 3-note chord without the 7th, simply leave the top note out. So this will be the E flat diminished chord. And with the top note, E flat diminished 7th chord. Let's do it one more time. Now I want to make it the F sharp diminished 7th chord. So I move this note to the top, I move my hand. Now exactly the same notes are now called the F sharp diminished 7th chord. And again, if I only want the 3-note chord, the F sharp diminished, I'll leave out the last note. And we can do it one more time. Now I want to make the note A, my root note. So I move this note to the top. And I move my hand like this. Now, again, with exactly the same notes as before, this chord is called the A diminished 7th chord, a 4-note chord. And again, if I only want a 3-note chord, the A diminished, I simply leave out the top note. So you see, once you know one diminished 7th chord, you in fact know 4 different diminished 7th chord. It's only a matter of what note is at the bottom, okay? So I'll do it again. C diminished 7th chord, E flat diminished 7th chord, F sharp diminished 7th chord, A diminished 7th chord. Okay? And the same goes, because I hope you understand that we only have 12 keys on the keyboard, right? So, because you know this chord, there are 4 different chords in one. Then you have 4 out of 12 chords already. Okay? So, if we move up half a note, one semitone like this, if you know this chord, you also know this chord, you also know this chord, you also know this chord. Listen. The the C sharp diminished 7th chord, the E diminished 7th chord, the G diminished 7th chord, the A sharp diminished 7th chord. So that was 4 more, right? We started here and then we went here. Now I'm going to do this note, D diminished 7th chord. I move this bottom note to the top, making this one the root note. So this will be the F diminished 7th chord. Moving this to the top. Now I have the G sharp diminished 7th chord. And one more time. And there you have the B sharp diminished 7th chord. Okay? I hope you understand this. Otherwise, watch the video one more time. So, as I promised you, I'll simply show you all the chords. I'll show you all the diminished 7th chords. It's up to you to remember. If you only want the 3-note chord, simply leave out the top note. So this will be the C diminished 7th chord, and this will be the C diminished chord, right? So let's start here again. The 4 chords. Yeah, and one more thing. I hope you understand that when I call this one E flat diminished 7th chord, it's exactly the same thing as a D sharp diminished 7th chord. So I'm only going to call the black keys by one name, but in fact all the black keys has 2 names, right? E flat or D sharp. Okay. So the 4 diminished chords made from the notes of the C diminished 7th chord are C diminished 7, E flat diminished 7th, F sharp diminished 7th, A diminished 7th. Okay? Okay, now we move up one semitone, one key on the keyboard, starting out with the C sharp diminished 7th. Now we're going to make the 4 chords with these 4 root notes. C sharp diminished 7th, E diminished 7th, G diminished 7th, B flat diminished 7th, or A sharp diminished 7th, right? Let's do it again. C sharp diminished 7th, E diminished 7th, G diminished 7th, A sharp, B flat, diminished 7th. And the last 4, diminished 7th, starting with the root note D, D diminished 7th, F diminished 7th, G sharp diminished 7th, B diminished 7th. I'll do it again. D diminished 7th, F diminished 7th, G sharp diminished 7th, B diminished 7th. And you'll notice if we move one semitone up more, we will in fact be back at the E flat diminished 7th, which belongs to our first 4 chords, 4 row of chords, right? You understand? So in fact you only have to know this chord and how to turn it around, the C diminished 7th, and you have to know this chord, C sharp diminished 7th, and how to turn this around, and you have to know the D diminished 7th and how to turn this around. Then you know all the diminished 7th in the whole world. Okay, so there you have it, how to make a diminished chord or a diminished 7th chord on your piano or keyboard. So before you leave me today, please remember to like this video if you liked this lesson. I'm sure you did. And subscribe to this channel to get more free videos from me. Okay, do it now, help me out. See you around.
So, I hope you enjoyed this free piano lesson. Do you want more free piano chord stuff? How about a free piano chord chart? Or a free chord inversion crash course? Or a free chord symbols chart? Simply go to pianochordscharts.net and download your free stuff. Click the link below and I'll see you over there. Please like this video to keep our videos free for future visitors. Thank you.